Hey, it's Steve here, and today we are going to talk about impact. Now, impact as a coach, as a Scrum Master, is the number one focus point that you have to have right now, today. Like it is, for me, it is the thing that is truly missing from the the general discourse, the sort of conversations that go on. If you're unable to prove your impact and really showcase the level of impact that you've had with your teams, with your leaders, with your organizations, if you haven't got it on your CV, we talk about having achievements on your CV. Achievements have to show the impact that you have. If you're unable to prove that, you're not gonna get a look in. If you're going for promotion, if you're going for that sort of key role of coach, if you're unable to showcase what impact that you've had, it's literally just you just won't even get any time at all. They won't even give you that opportunity. Um, this is we have to separate ourselves from the mediocrity that is the sort of general bog standard of Scrum Mastery and Agile coaching. The key difference, the key differentiator between those that are really thriving and those that are just about getting by is the level of impact that they're having. And if you can really give everything of what you've achieved, how you've achieved it, case studies, the real measurable outcomes that you've had, the impact that you've had, you will absolutely thrive and go, and it will give you such a big boost in being able to get ahead. So this is what we're going to talk about in today's show. It's all about the impact. We're going to talk about why it's essential, why why it's really key to have real measurable outcomes, and how we showcase measures and link those to business outcomes as well, because that's the sort of conversations, that's the terminology that you need to be using, is real business focus. Um, it's just not the case to be the norm anymore. You have to sort of be talking in business language, business speak, and linking what the work that you do to business outcomes. That's it. So we're going to talk about that, and but first of all, let's talk about what do we mean by impact. What are we talking about when we talk about impact? What is it? What is it? So for me, fundamentally, it's not just having success in terms of delivering value. That's great, but it's how what change have you evoked? What mindset have you changed? Um, how have the work that you have done enabled greater things in the organization? Like, for example, if you are um, reducing employee turnover, for example, it's a huge challenge for organizations, especially in the modern market. People become burnt out, they lose interest, um, they get um, stressed and overworked, and they end up leaving. If some of the work that you have enabled has reduced that, huge become that's the sort of impact that you can really showcase, and and provide great, really it can give you such a good uh, focus for the organization, and can make a real difference. So it's so when we talk about impact, it's like level of influence that you're able to have. It's the level of authority that you are able to have. It's um, changing the mindset towards focusing on the customer and being customer centric. It's um, being able to enable a change, a transformation. It's being able to sort of move from one way of working to another, maybe even changing culture um, and and enhancing the workplace, will be making it, helping it to become a much better place to work. Um, if you're spending your time just going through the motions and not really focusing or working with leadership and helping them to uncover these kind of things and really focus on these kind of things, then you will just generally be overlooked, right? So um, so we talk about presence, having, being able to walk into a room and be and command the room and be and have real gravitas in the room and respect, because people will listen to you because you've actually helped you've helped to change minds, to work in a certain way, not just blabber agile speak at people because they get very they switch off from it, but actually helping people to sort of see how things can work differently in a way that they can understand, and you can help lead them there. So so when we talk about impact, it's really those sort of nuances. It's a real soft skill to to have. If you can work with your team, first of all, as a scrum master, if you're working with your team, really focus in on what sort of impact that you can have with this team, not just running good stand-ups. And we do retrospectives every couple of weeks, and we have great sprint planning and all this kind of stuff. This is good to a certain point. These are the basics, the fundamentals of agile. What you really need to be doing is really looking, taking a step back, really looking deep into what is the culture like, right? What is the how does the value that the team provide, deliver, how does that link to the overarching organizational strategic goals? How do those things link together? And if you're able to really sort of see where there might be a gap, a break, can you then challenge with your product owners, with your with your leaders, and say, hey, look, we're doing this stuff, but it doesn't really have any overarching uh, strategic link, right? So we need to really challenge why, or why we exist, and then that can then, you can then create purpose around that, and pivot if needs be, and actually help the team to really understand their purpose, and that really helps drive motivation. So all of these things can have a knock-on effect. So if you were there and able to speak with your team, if they're finding, if there's a problem with motivation, with morale, what sort of things can you do to help build that? And fundamentally, it comes back to purpose. It comes back to autonomy. It comes back to mastery, right? To quote Daniel Pink's book, Drive, amazing book, will give you so much of an understanding of how to motivate people, how people are motivated, and teams are motivated. And if you're able to start working at that kind of deeper level with your team, and really help them to help build that motivation, build that morale, and that togetherness, have real purpose and drive. You know, that's the sort of key, right? That's the sort of starting point. Not just going through the motions and working at that kind of thin layer uh, of Scrum mastery, where you're making sure that they're doing retrospectives every couple of weeks, and that that they're using the Jira board and that everybody's working through the Jira tickets and in the way that we're set up. It's deeper. It's much deeper than that. It's huge. It's really deep level skills that you need to be working at. And if you're struggling with that kind of level, then seek out guidance and learning on how to really get into that deeper level, and then you can start moving into more of a coach like um, role and position. But it has to start at the team. Hey, you need to start at the team level. If you're a Scrum Master, you need to start at that kind of level, working with your product owner, your tech leads, um, tech lead, and help them, form that three, that the delivery, product, and tech, to help the team, your designers, your engineers, your testers, to really focus on purpose, mastery, autonomy. If there's a problem with autonomy, go and speak with your leadership and help them to see how they can empower the team much better. And so, that's the sort of level to start with, and really kind of focus in on, what's preventing them from building up motivation and morale. Look at stats, look at the sickness, and question the team. What's the working hours for the team? What are they currently working? Because if they're working late nights, weekends, just to finish the sprint, that's a problem. That has a knock-on effect. It builds up and builds up, and then you have burnout. You get more sickness. What's the turnover like in terms of employee? The team members leaving and coming and going. What is the what is how is the team structured? Is it a continuous team, like a value stream type team, or a product team where you're continuously evolving the backlog, or is it a project team where there's a start and finish and you have team members coming and going all the time? It's really disruptive. Those kind of things you need to be really looking at, and gathering data, and helping everybody to understand like what sort of impact that's having. Um, so yeah, so that's what we really mean um, by impact, is focusing in on those kind of things, and then bringing your knowledge, your skills to make improvements around that. Gather data, look at how we can then improve on those numbers, like reducing sickness, like reducing turnover, like um, improving workflow, those kind of things, absolutely paramount. Um, and then actually then start to integrate with your leaders, with your other teams, and start vocalizing exactly what sort of impact that you are having, because word will spread, right? You will start to be heard if you're making vast improvements, not just in retrospectives and improvements of the team functions and that kind of stuff, but you're actually evoking some real change and helping the team along, then people start to see that kind of stuff. They start to listen and hear out for it, and don't be afraid. Some For me, I used to be really bad at vocalizing this kind of stuff, and actually, I realized that the more you can vocalize it, the more you start to build opportunities for yourself in other areas and growing your career. That's exactly how I really started to elevate myself into more senior roles, because I was really vocalizing on uh, how much impact I was having with the teams, and that sort of thing is golden. Um, so let's get into the measures of it, and how you might measure uh, impact, right? So impact is I break it down into the things like employee turnover, sickness levels, um, but also if you can change, doing some test and learn process improvements or behavioral improvements, and figure out, work with the people that you're helping, you're coaching, figure out what the data is like now, and those are the sorts of things to focus on in terms of improving, making a real difference in and actually moving the needle and that kind of stuff. And then you've got some real tangible evidence, you know on your CV. Let's say, for example, you're going for a new role, or you're in between roles now. On your CV, it shouldn't be the team measures. It should be your measures. It should be the measures that you have had. It's the impact that you have had with the team, with other teams. If you've changed mindsets, if you've effective behaviors, if you've helped the team to change its ways and for the good, and actually become a lot more of an agile force. How is that? How are you measuring that and making it really clear on the CV? Because it will literally jump out. If you're going for promotion, the same thing. Being really clear on the impact level and the measures that you're having. So it's it's basically, there is no there's no getting away from it. You have to make it absolutely crystal clear on how you, as a scrum master, as a coach, the level of impact that you can have is, it's basically a non-negotiable right now. Okay, more than it's ever been. Like, the golden era of just walking into new contracts and basically coasting along, it's just gone. Like, there is it's such a cutthroat industry now that you need to elevate yourself above all the rest so that you can actually really stand out and showcase and tell a story. Two types of story: anecdotal and tangible, right? Providing anecdotal evidence. This was the problem, right? We had a huge staff sickness in our company, in our teams, huge sickness. People were leaving. The culture was really toxic. It was real blame culture. I came in, right, and I did these three things. First of all, I I spent some time with the product owners, and I helped train them to build their competency in product ownership. I worked with the engineers, and I helped create a sustainable way of working. And we built out a team agreement that we would hold each other to account. And I helped them to focus on working together collaboratively as a team, so that so that they could actually start building relationships. We managed to go and and meet together every week, sometimes online. We were able to meet in the office. We had a team day regularly. We built up that strength in the team, and the blame culture became a real trustworthy culture. We reduced sickness by 17%. We reduced staff turnover by 20%. We in we focused. I focused on value, right? I worked with the product owners to really link the value that we deliver as a team with the leadership team, with the overarching organizational strategy, and we with our customers, we reduced customer churn by 18%, right? Tell a story. As a result, the organization, the team within the organization, absolutely flourished, and it sustained a position of high performance for 18 months. The organization saw record profits, that kind of thing. Linking what you do to the overarching organizational strategy. If you can tell a story like that, it's unbelievably powerful. And you have to say it in the first person. I did this. This was the problem. This was the context around that problem. This was the why, the deeper rooted issues around the problem. This is some of the initiatives that I introduced and I supported all the way through. These were the measures that we were measuring against. This was the results. This was the outcome. And this was the general feedback. Maybe if you can get some quotes from one or two individuals, it's so powerful. But you have to have those kind of conversations. You have to have that really clearly written, like a case study. Problem, context, uh, measures, outcomes. Those four things, and you'll be able to really stand out. So as I say, it's really essential. I've developed a framework around impact. I is for influence. It's being able to influence others. It's being able to work with others to understand their context, their challenges, and be able to influence the behavior or their mindset um, through experience, through your knowledge, working together and just seeing how you can break down those barriers. M is for mastery. It's focusing in on your own level of mastery and being able to develop skills, soft skills, the real, not just your agile powers, but your soft human skills, right? Your people skills, being able to develop those. Um, P is for presence, being able to walk into the room and be able to have real gravitas because of the work that you do. People really listen, and you work in such a way that doesn't antagonize people and push people away. There's a real uh, there's a real challenge with resistance. If you are a more traditional purist agile coach or scrum master and you are pushing against resistance, it's just going to get people's um, you're just going to end up pushing people away. So if you can be working with people and helping to understand how everything fits together and where they're coming from, where that resistance may be born out of, being able to identify the resistance. Sometimes it's not really clear and visible for you. If you can start to break those kind of walls down and work with them and help solve some of their problems for them and really showcase some of the impact that you're having, your presence will rise. People will start to notice, and then you will have much greater presence in the room because you're doing some good things and it's being noted, it's being seen. A is for awareness, so having self-awareness, not just situational awareness and awareness of what's going on among others, but self-awareness. So I've said in a previous video is journaling. Get into the habit of journaling and building. Write down what you're seeing and take note of how you're uh, how you are in different situations. Could you improve in certain elements? What did you say there that might have upset some people? How could you have said it differently? Get into the habit of noting down and reflecting on your own awareness, but then also the others around you and the way that the team is interacting and the things that aren't being said, so that you can actually go in at a deeper level. Really helpful, really powerful for people. So build your awareness. And then C is customer centricity. So we've talked about value and the value that you deliver. Are you solving problems for your customers? Are you working with your product team, your product owners and helping to build their competency so that they are linking the work that the team are doing to the customer, and actually really closing that feedback loop and being very prioritizing against the customer's needs, customer centricity. And then T is general transformation. It's change. It's evoking change. It's effecting change of mindset, change of behaviors, change of culture, and that you are driving that, you're leading that, supporting the transformation, working with your teams, working with leaders, and supporting them all the way through. So that's the impact framework. Now, if you would like to know how you are shaping up against those 6 pillars, then I'm going to put a link in the notes. Take the impact pulse check, right? Understand it's an agile impact pulse check. Understand some of the levels that you have, where the gaps, where the strengths, where are your weaknesses, and that's an area that you can focus on improving. Take the pulse check. Is completely free, and it will give you a chance to really take a step back and reflect on how you are in those areas. Um, and and so, you know, as I say, if you're really if you're really struggling to get to the next level, or you're in between roles, and you're sort of looking around and going, I just don't, everything seems to be really hard at the moment, and it is. But there's a lot of competition, right? If you're on LinkedIn and you're applying for a Scrum Master role, an Agile delivery lead role, a Agile coach role, you're up against 100, 200, 300 people going for those roles, right? That's just the norm now. You know, if you're internally going for promotion, um, maybe it's a little bit easier. But if you are in between roles, it's the industry is so flooded with, as I say, a lot of mediocrity. But you're having to really stand up and be and raise yourself above the parapet, amongst the masses, and your level of impact is absolutely key to that. Being able to showcase it, tell a story, showcase the business outcomes, the real measures, the key measures that you have evoked, that you have been the main driver behind. And don't be shy. Don't hide behind it and go, well, especially us British, we're very like I said before, I used to be really shy about proving my worth and showing my value, but actually that's the thing that's going to help you get ahead. So I hope this has been really helpful. As I say, I'll put the pulse check link in the notes, so look out for that. And then also being able to, if you're a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, being able to build and sustain high performance in your teams will really elevate you as in your role. I'm doing a high performing team challenge. It's a 5-day event. It's an hour a day for 5 days, and we go through that impact framework, and we go through the 3 absolute blockers to high performance, the 3 major things that get in the way. And I provide you with lots of tools and techniques that you can use in order to build a high performing team, so that by the end of the week you're able to really provide and build that, and put your team together. So look out for that link in the show notes, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. All the best. Thank you very much.